I want to comment on a contentious issue in American college admissions. I receive the frequently asked question from concerned Asian and Asian American families wondering if their child might experience a disadvantage or discrimination in UT Austin's admissions process. The answer to this question is an unequivocal no. Look, I'm critical of many UT admissions practices and higher education in general. But on this topic, UT Austin does not discriminate against Asian and Asian American applicants. Asians are the most overrepresented demographic on campus at 22%, compared with 5% of the overall Texas population. Asian enrollment has trended up and not down over the past 2 decades. Hispanic, white, and black students are also all less represented at UT compared to the general population within the state of Texas. It could potentially be the case that UT does indeed discriminate and that even more Asian students could be on campus, but I suspect that this isn't the case. It's impossible to say whether any individual admissions reviewer has biases or stereotypes against any given group of people, but until we see a significant drop in Asian enrollment at UT, or there's some other smoking gun internal document or a review that exposes discrimination, I will remain firm in my belief that discrimination as a UT admissions policy is not present. Zooming out on the bigger topic, UT's holistic review process and how they distribute admissions decisions is quite mechanical. Students are scored based on how well they fit for their major, and then they're placed on a giant spreadsheet for the other students applying for their majors or colleges and schools. Then a line is drawn to see who gets in and who doesn't get in. They're not like hand-picking students by committee like what tends to happen at private universities. The UT decision process is a lot less subjective, meaning that it's less dependent on the whims of human decision-making or people sitting around a table. In general, Asian diaspora and Asian American students are well represented at top public universities across the country. This isn't to say that Asian students don't experience discrimination at school or in their daily lives. The model minority stereotype is very real and it is concerning, which places unnecessary pressure on an already stressful adolescence for any teenager, regardless of race. It's also unfortunate that many non Asian families often claim that Asian students are taking the spaces of their children, whether there's any basis to this claim or not. I've worked with dozens of Asian students from all kinds of backgrounds over the years, and I share their concerns about how the Asian American category paints them as some big monolith, when there's almost infinite variations, just like any other ethnicity or background, in an Asian or Asian American's life path, background, identities, and interests. And I will also never tell a student that they must or must not discuss their race and ethnicity. Even so, many Asian students feel timid or embarrassed to discuss their background. So I encourage them to discuss their identity or background in an essay if it's relevant to their personal development or their life goals, or if it's something they simply wish to share about. Like, honestly, it really irritates me and frankly, it pisses me off when some independent counselors tell Asian students to downplay their Asianness, even if that student has spent many years doing activities like Indian classical dancing, Chinese fan dancing, or maybe they enjoy celebrating Lunar New Year in their ancestral home or other cultural and religious traditions. I've had many dozens of clients gain admission to top 20 universities over the years who dedicate significant essay content about their Asian perspectives and experiences. But if you flip the variables around, it would be hypocritical and even racist to tell a black student to downplay their blackness, or it would be homophobic for an independent counselor to tell a gay student to not discuss being gay, if these perspectives are central to their identities and perspectives. It is certainly the case that universities celebrate and embrace Black or LGBTQ students in the college admissions process, while being Asian is met with neutral response or maybe even perceived as slightly negative. So I definitely understand the concerns of Asian families about how reviewers and universities might perceive them. Let's circle back, though, and address the primary concern Asian families have. It comes from alarming practices at elite private universities. Recent research and court rulings indicate that Asian applicants do experience discrimination at some of the nation's top private universities. Asian applicants routinely require higher SATs to gain admission relative to similar applicants from different races. There also seems to be issues related to human reviewers rating Asian students with similar profiles to other races, rating them lower in likability or leadership relative to students with similar resumes from different ethnic backgrounds. It's why the Supreme Court ruled in 2023 in the case Students for Fair Admission versus Harvard and the University of North Carolina against considerations of race as a category in college admissions. But I won't go into that court case here. In short, Asians need to be even more impressive at many private top universities to gain admission, not just at UT, but even public universities everywhere, because they don't admit students by human committees. Their enrollment has remained stable at elite schools like Harvard and Princeton, despite constituting a larger proportion of applicants. These practices were called the 1920s and 30s, when elite universities placed informal caps and quotas on Jewish students. So look, I sympathize with Asian and Asian American families when they have concerns about formal discrimination in the college admissions process. But at UT at least, it's highly unlikely that they're at a disadvantage. I hope you enjoyed this video on a sensitive subject, especially recorded by someone like me who isn't Asian or from a marginalized group. The easiest way to reach me is by email at kevin@texadmissions.com and to complete the questionnaire in the information section of this video for a free email admissions consultation. Thanks, and I hope you have a great day.